You have been tasked with applying conditional access policies for your company's current Azure Active Directory, Azure AD. The process involves assessing the risk events and risk levels. Which of the following is the risk level that should be configured for users that have leaked credentials? Your company has an Active Directory forest with a single domain named waylandindustries.com. They also have an Azure Active Directory Azure AD tenant with the same name. You have been tasked with integrating Active Directory and the Azure AD tenant. You intend to deploy Azure AD Connect. Your strategy for the integration must make sure that password policies and user logon limitations affect user accounts that are synced to the Azure AD tenant, and that the amount of necessary servers are reduced. Solution provided here for this question is you recommend the use of pass-through authentication and seamless SSO with password hash synchronization. Does the solution meet the goal? Hello and welcome to 591 Lab. I'm Jackton and I'm thrilled to have you here today as we dive into the exciting world of Microsoft Azure Security. In this video, we are going to focus on the AZ500 certification exam preparation questions, which is all about the security solutions on Azure. If you are looking to elevate your skills in cloud security technology, understand how to secure your infrastructure, and ultimately achieve the AZ500 certification, you are in the right place. Whether you are an IT professional, a system administrator, or someone passionate about cloud security computing, this training series is designed to provide you with the knowledge and insight needed to excel in your Azure cloud security journey. So essentially, we will cover key concepts around Azure AD Connect and conditional access policies. So before we begin, just make sure, I have a request, make sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up if you find it quite helpful. So first and foremost, who are we? We are 591 Lab and our site is 591lab.com, pronounced as 591 Lab. 591 Lab is the top IT training and certification exam brand in China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Singapore. Our mission at 591 Lab is to provide our clients with exceptional exam preparation experience for certifications in Cisco, Huawei, Aruba, Juniper, Microsoft, and Azure certification tracks. So without further ado, let's jump right into the AZ500 sample questions and also try to check on the agenda first of all. So the agenda today that is going to form part 3 of this particular AZ500 series is going to be edged on the managed identity and access. So under managed identity and access, we are going to talk about Azure AD Connect and conditional access policies. So let's begin with the first question. You have been tasked with applying conditional access policies for your company's current Azure Active Directory, Azure AD. The process involves assessing the risk events and risk levels. Which of the following is the risk level that should be configured for users that have leaked credentials? So first and foremost, this question is talking about conditional access policies. Conditional access policies are used to provide, for example, if you want to provide trimmed down security meshes within your Azure AD. An example would be, for example, if you want to block users accessing certain applications, or you want to monitor how your applications are being accessed from different by different users or within the organization, and from what locations are they accessing these applications from. So you can get to trim down monitoring of those access to these applications using the conditional access policies. So I will take you to the Azure portal, and then I will explain how to where the conditional access policies are found. So with the conditional access policies, so you go to Microsoft Entra conditional access policies. Right now it's Microsoft Entra. It used to be called Azure AD conditional access policies. So under conditional access, under the left pane here, you'll see we have policies that we can configure policies as to how access needs to be granted within our environment. We also have we can do management of access to our applications, from named application, custom controls, VPN connectivity, and also from monitoring perspective, we can monitor how users are accessing our applications that have been hosted within our environment. So to implement these conditional access policies, there's usually the levels. So you can have a medium, high, as per the risks involved. So I'll bring up these activities, sign-in activities, and show you the risk levels that are involved. So for example, the sign-in activity, for example, the users with leaked credentials. If a user has been the user's credentials have been leaked, for example, within the dark web, so that risk level is categorized by the conditional access policies to be high, and instant measures will be taken as per the policies that you've configured, if at all that threshold or sign-in activity is met. And then secondly, we have sign-ins from anonymous IP addresses. So for example, you've secured your user in that you know that your users need to be logging in from a particular set of IP addresses. If you see within your sign-in logs activities that a certain IP is not matching as per the IP addresses that you define, then this risk level is categorized under medium. And then we have the impossible travel to atypical locations. This involves a situation whereby a user, for example, logs in Japan, and then after an hour or even after 30 minutes, you see the same user logging in from, let's say, United States of America. So that is very impossible for one to log in Japan, and then after 30 minutes he logs in again when in United States. So that is usually being tracked down. When you use conditional access policies, you can use conditional access policies to track that down and be able to tell that this is a sign-in activity that is not right and there's something fishy going on with that particular account. So as per the policies that you've set, you can say, for example, if such a situation is detected, for example, block the user from accessing, or you trigger MFA, for example. Then the other case is sign-ins from infected devices. If a user's device is detected to be an infected device, the risk level here, by the virtue of user signing in from this particular infected device, then in this case, the risk level is said to be medium in this regard. So another one is sign-ins from IP addresses with suspicious activity. So this could be IP, the way you've whitelisted IPs, and if an user logs in from an IP that you, for example, you've not categorically addressed that it needs to access applications, then that risk level is usually categorized to be low. And then we have sign-ins from unfamiliar locations. So let's say your users, as per the heuristics that have been collected, your users are normally logging in from, let's say, Japan always, and then all of a sudden a user logs in from United States of America. So that in essence, it's not very risky though. But in this regard, the system captures it that it is used to people logging in, or the users logging in from Japan. So this, all of a sudden, someone logging in from United States, that will be tracked down and an alarm will be raised. So that risk level is usually categorized to be medium. So I'll go to the Azure portal under risk levels, and then I'll be able to categorically. So let's say, for example, when I go to sign in logs, under sign in logs, you'll see, for example, it shows me how many sign-ins have been done to my environment. So you can see sign in by this user Jackton, from telling me from what application, and then status, its success, then it tells me from what IP addresses have I logged in. So it's telling me everything here. So then in that regard, I'll be able to categorically say, okay, as per these logins, then I can be able to trim down last 24 hours, where I can even say I want to do a custom time interval. And then to get these risk levels, you need to have Azure Active Directory Premium P2 license. So when you go to your AD, let me go to Microsoft Entra ID, you need to have these licenses, this premium Microsoft Entra ID P2. This is the highest level of Azure AD SKU, where you have all the capabilities of AI inbuilt for security measures. So for you to take into account the risky sign-ins, you need to have the Entra ID P2 license. So when I go back to conditional access policies, so I'm going to demonstrate. My demo is going to revolve around how to implement, how to configure sign-in risk-based Azure conditional access policies. So let's assume we have a web application that is published by the internet. To access the services, the user has to provide a username and a password. So if one of the user's account is compromised, how the system can differentiate the legitimate access and illegal access from the system point of view, as long as someone provides a valid username and password, system will allow access. But if we can analyze user access behavior and detect anomalies, potentially we will be able to detect illegal access attempts. As an example, let's assume the user is always logged in from Canada. The user logged into the system at 10 a.m. successfully. By 11 a.m., the system detects another authentication attempt from United Kingdom for the same user. As we can see, this behavior is suspicious, and if the system can detect this automatically, we can prevent a possible illegal access attempt. So what comes in here is a sign-in risk-based Azure conditional access policies, which will help organizations to review user sign-in behaviors and detect risks. Then, based on risk levels, which we've discussed, organization can either block the user or enforce actions such as multi-factor authentication to prove the identity. Then again, so these categorization of the sign-in risk that we've talked about, the 4 levels are high, medium, low, or no risk, as we've seen here. High, medium, low, or no risk at all. So we can use one or more sign-in risk levels with a conditional access policy. It doesn't matter. So an example will be anonymous IP address. So how do we calculate these risks? So what I mean to say is, due to security reasons, for example, Microsoft does not provide you exact details how the risk levels are calculated. However, Microsoft says the following events contribute on risk level calculation. So these events, the following events that I'm going to mention, for example, anonymous IP address. Anonymous IP address, this risk detection type indicates sign-ins from anonymous IP. For example, Tor browser or anonymous VPN. This detection type is real-time because it is as of the time the user is logging in, it detected. Another detection type is atypical travel. Atypical travel, this risk detection type identifies 2 sign-ins originating from geographically distant location. The way I'd mentioned, someone logging in Japan, and then after 30 minutes they are logging in from United Kingdom. So this is usually under detection type. This is usually offline. And then we have malware linked IP addresses. This also offline. And familiar sign-in properties. This is real time, because now this risk detection type considered past sign-in history, so that is real time. And then we have password free that the attackers get to use. This is usually offline. And then again, malicious IP addresses, this as well is usually offline. So let's get to the portal where we are now, and then configure conditional access policies. So to configure conditional access policies, we need to go to our Microsoft Entra ID. After going to our Microsoft Entra ID, we'll go to security. So let me take you there. So we'll go to Microsoft Entra ID, which is our Azure AD, and then you come to security. And then under security, you can see we have our conditional access policies there. So you click on conditional access. Okay. After clicking under conditional access, the fifth step that you're going to do is click create new policy. Okay, create new policy. Okay, now, so here I'm going to name the policy, for example, 591 lab sign-in risk. Okay, and then I go to the second now, assignments. I'm going to specify users or groups. I'm going to select group. I already have a group, so under group I'm going to say users and groups, and then I'm going to select my group. So at selected, I have a group called sales and marketing, so I select this group. Go ahead, select that group. Okay, and then after doing that, I go to the target. After selecting that, I go to the next step, which is the target resources. So target resources. So target resources, I'm going to say, for example, all cloud applications. Okay, then after selecting that, mean all my cloud application, and then I go to my condition. So under condition, you can see sign-in risk, user risk, device platform. So I'm going to select, in this case, we are implementing sign-in risk. So as I discussed, sign-in risk, user risk, all these two require user to have a premium P2 license. So I go to sign-in risk, and then I say control user access to respond to specific sign-in risk levels. Say yes, configure, and then I select on high and medium. Then I say done. Then I come here, access controls, I grant. And access control, I grant. So I'll say if that is detected, if high risk or medium risk is detected, require multi-factor authentication, or I can say require authentication strength. So require authentication strength. See if I need to select one. If I choose this, I cannot choose the other one. So if I choose that, require multi-factor authentication. Then I say select that, and then under session, I'll choose the session. Okay, I'll say use, for example, any here, control access based on session control. I say sign-in frequency. So I say, for example, periodic authentication. I say 1, and then select units. I say hours, and then say select, and then under now here, lastly, I say enable policy. It will either report only, meaning that it won't be implemented immediately. It will just be reporting. And then when I say on, it will be active. And then if it is off, meaning it won't be implemented immediately. So I go ahead and say, if I turn it on, I say create. So, okay, saying security defaults must be enabled to enable conditional access policy. So, of course, I'll need to go to home. Let me go there. Security defaults. So, I go to Microsoft Entra ID. Security defaults. I go to properties. scroll down, then manage security defaults, then click here disable, and then say just other reason, demo, no purposes, say save, say disable. So that's done. So I go back under my conditional access policy, go back Microsoft Entra ID, security, conditional access policy, create, click on give it a name, 591 lab, sign in risk policy, this one, assignments, assign the group, select group, I'll assign my group, and I add a group called sales, I select that group. Okay, then go to target resources. The target resources, I say all cloud applications, and then I go to conditions, I say sign in risk, that's the condition need, sign, give it, then I say high and medium, done. Then I go to access controls, go there, say grant access. I'll say if that high medium is detected or high or medium risk level is detected, just grant access but require MFA. Then select session, sign in risk, sign in frequency, say 1 hours, then I select, then these as explained before, then I go ahead and create. The policy validates, it has already created. So if I refresh here, you'll see the policy is created here. So if I go to policies, here's my policy, 591 lab, here's the policy. So I can make changes as required. So if we go to our question, so question 1 saying the process involved assessing the risk events and risk levels. Which of the following is the risk level that should be configured for users who have leaked credentials? So as we've seen, users with the leaked credentials, this is very high severity that needs to be checked. So the answer here is D, high. On Azure AD Connect. So the question goes, your company has an Active Directory forest with a single domain named waylandindustries.com. They also have an Azure Active Directory Azure AD tenant with the same name. You have been tasked with integrating Active Directory and the Azure AD tenant. You intend to deploy Azure AD Connect. Your strategy for the integration must make sure that password policies and user logon limitations affect user accounts that are synced to the Azure AD tenant, and that the amount of necessary servers are reduced. Solution provided here for this question is you recommend the use of pass-through authentication and seamless SSO with password hash synchronization. Does the solution meet the goal? So before we answer this question, let's go to our whiteboard. So for starters, you'll find that within Azure AD, you can get to connect the two ADs that is existing on the on-premises and Azure Active Directory. So we have on-premises and we have on the Azure side. On-premises, we have what we call the Active Directory. On Azure side, we have what we call Azure AD. Azure AD. To make these two ADs talk to each other, we usually connect them using Azure AD Connect, a tool called Azure AD Connect. Azure AD Connect. This is the tool we use to connect these two ADs. So what happens in this case is that there are, for example, modalities of connecting these two ADs. So one, you can choose to go with what we call pass-through authentication. Pass-through authentication. 2, you can choose to go with a password hash synchronization. Password hash synchronization. 3, you can choose to go with Active Directory Federation Services, ADFS. I'm going to dwell so much on the first two, pass-through authentication and password hash synchronization. So with pass-through authentication, the authentication component where the users are authenticated from, they are authenticated from the Azure AD. Not from the Azure AD, I mean from the Active Directory on premises. So these users are authenticated from Active Directory that exists on the on-premises. That is, if you've implemented the Azure AD Connect using the pass-through authentication. So what happens is, if at all the users want to access the applications that are sitting on the cloud side, their login credentials will be authenticated from the on-premises side. And then is when that you can go ahead and access the application sitting on the Azure side. So here the source of truth for the users logging in to applications that you have on the cloud side, and whenever you've implemented Azure AD Connect, the source of truth here for them when you use pass-through authentication is the Active Directory side. That is the source of truth. So with password hash synchronization, it's sort of different. Password hash synchronization, in this modality, the user's credentials are hashed, in that the credentials are stored on Azure AD side. The credentials are stored on this other end. So meaning the point of truth for users who are signing into applications, who are logging into application, is on the Azure AD side if you have password hash synchronization. So the hash of the hashes of the passwords that for these particular users that are synced from the on-premises are stored on Azure side. So you'll find that with password hash synchronization, it is very straightforward, and it is you don't have to introduce another server in the mix. But with pass-through authentication, you'll have to introduce another server, for example, where you are going to install the agent on the on-premises side. Because with AD side, you'll have to install an agent. With pass-through authentication, you'll have to install an agent. This is introducing another overhead for managing this authentication. But with password-through authentication, as I discussed, it's quite straightforward. You just sync the credentials, and the credentials are stored on the Azure side. I'll go to the Azure portal and demonstrate on how to implement Azure AD Connect. Before I go to the portal to demonstrate, let me draw the architecture of what we have on the Azure side, on the Azure portal side. So the architecture that I do have is, I've simulated an environment where we have a virtual machine, we have a VM. So this VM has got Active Directory DS services, Active Directory domain services installed, and also inside here I've installed Azure AD Connect. Azure AD Connect. So these, after installing the AD Connect and the ADDS services here, this AD Connect is connecting the services here to the Azure AD. It's connecting that AD to Azure AD. So the Azure AD Connect is ensuring there's a connection of the ADD services that have been installed inside this VM to the Azure AD side. So I'll demonstrate to you. If I create a user created here, a user created that created inside the VM where the ADDS is, you will see this user on the Azure AD side, or the Microsoft Entra. So let me go to my lab. So here I go back. Let's start with the virtual machine. So this is the virtual machine that I created, where the AD Connect is resisting and the ADDS services. So you can see this is the VM. that has got all those components I'm talking about. So if you log in and go to that VM in particular, this is it. So you can see under roles and services, I've installed ADDS services inside this particular virtual machine. And then again, you can also see I've installed Azure AD Connect inside this virtual machine. So to install Azure AD Connect inside this virtual machine, you just say Azure AD Connect download. So you go and download the AD Connect. So you can see the download button. Then you can download the AD Connect. So here, when I take you to Microsoft Entra ID, so under Microsoft Entra ID, if we go to Azure AD Connect, Microsoft Azure AD Connect, Microsoft Entra Connect, then I go to Connect Sync. So you'll see Connect Sync here, sync status is enabled, meaning that my on-premises or the Active Directory domain services that are configured within my virtual machine are synchronizing with my Microsoft Entra ID, Microsoft Entra Connect. So the way we can know this is, for example, if we go to users, you'll see the authorization, the connection on-premise sync enabled. So you'll see, like for example, this user Jackson Ondi, that this user on it. If you check here, on-premise sync enabled, it's saying here no. This means this user is a cloud user, was only created on the Azure AD side, meaning it was not created on the on-premises side. If you check these, John Allen, if you say if you check on-premise sync enabled, yes, meaning this user was created on the on-premises Active Directory. So if I take you back to our VM, and then I go to use computers, users and computers, you'll see here there's John Allen. John Allen is a user who is created within our Active Directory here, and so you can see he has been that user is synced to our Active Microsoft Entra ID. So this is how Azure Active Directory Connect, Azure AD Connect gets to work with the Azure AD by connecting the two Active Directories. So if we go back to the question, you'll see the question was asking, you recommend the use of pass-through authentication and seamless single sign-on password hash synchronization. Remember, the question was revolving around decreasing the touch points. The strategy for integration must make sure the password policies and user logon limitations affect user account that are synced on the Azure AD tenant, and that the amount of necessary servers are reduced. As seen, we've seen that pass-through, you'll have to introduce another server where you'll install the agent, for example. But with password hash synchronization, you don't have to introduce any other server. So for this question, it doesn't meet, does the solution meet the goal? No. So this solution doesn't meet the goal because it introduces another unnecessary servers that it's not required. We only need to do password hash synchronization and single sign-on alone. So thank you. I want to thank you all for attending today's class at 591 Lab. We hope you found the material informative and helpful. Remember, practice is critical to mastering any new skill. So review the course content and keep practicing with 591 Lab. Help and support. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact us. We appreciate your participation and look forward to seeing you in our future classes. Have a great day.